What's up, and welcome back to another episode of my Zodiac-inspired makeup series, and in this video, we're going to be covering everything about the Archer, Sagittarius. Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, a positive masculine sign, mutable fire. The Sun is in Sagittarius between November 21st and December 21st. The keyword is I perceive. It is represented by the archer, who shoots his arrow into the air, though he knows not his destiny, rules the hips and the thighs in the physical body. Sagittarius is the natural ruler of the 9th house, which governs understanding and the superconscious mind. The symbol of the sign is represented by the centaur, half human and half animal, or as I call it, half human, half beast, carrying a bow and arrow aimed heavenward. This represents his attempt to liberate himself from his lower nature and become that which he already is on the higher plane. There are two very different types of Sagittarians. Only the synthesis of other planets will tell you which type is operating. The average Sagittarian individuals are friendly, outgoing, optimistic, and extroverted in their approach to life. They love sports and gambling and are willing to take a chance on anything. They are apt to be quite superficial in all their interests in the first half of their life. Don't fence me in is their battle cry, for they are independent and freedom is the breath of life to them. The mate of a Sagittarian has to understand this quality in them, for they can't be pinned down. Half of the difficulties in marriage life and in families would be overcome if people understood the qualities inherent in each sign. Each of the 12 signs of the zodiac has a different temperament. Where Capricorn clings to tradition and the past, Sagittarians couldn't care less. The Sagittarians are interested in forward thrust, moving into the future. They love to travel and are the gypsies of the zodiac. Sagittarius rules the hips in the physical body. Without the hip movement, we couldn't move freely. As the Sagittarians reach the middle part of life's journey, their desire for distant horizons begin to turn inward and upward. Then the superconscious regions and spiritual philosophies begin to interest them. They will not be caught in dogma or creed, but the spiritual life begins to dominate their thinking and feeling. They have an innate understanding of people that makes them good counselors, ministers, and personal directors and workers in humanitarian movements. They are the salesman par excellence and the promoter types. When unevolved, they can be the confidence man. Their glib tongue and easygoing manner can be very deceiving. Sagittarius keyword is perception, another word for intuition. When we understand the meanings of the symbols, much now that lies hidden in the darkness will be clear to us. Jacob in the Bible story was lame in his hip, his understanding. He had to wrestle all night with the angel and could not let the angel go until it blessed him. Darkness or night symbolizes the darkness of our own ignorance. The angel was his problem. We all have them. We never lose the problem until we find the reason for it. Then, when we receive our understanding, the problem dissolves and we never need to face it again. One of the Sagittarian liabilities is procrastination. They do put off until tomorrow that which they could do today. Then, because their conscience gives them a bad time, they get nerves. Lack of organization and lack of discipline always takes its toll on the nervous system. Would that more of us would realize this truth. Sagittarians are as direct as arrows, and sometimes just as harmful. They have an unerring ability to hit the other fellow's weak point. There are also several myths and legends connected with this sign, the most well-known being the one concerning the Greek Centaurus. Some of these half-men and half-horse beings were cruel and barbaric, while others were enlightened and kind, the wisest and most versatile of all being Chiron. He aided the Argonauts on their expedition to find the Golden Fleece, mapping out the zodiac and including therein a group of stars called Sagittarius, which was intended to be his own likeness. Unfortunately, this creation copied the character of another centaur, one of the wildest and fiercest, who was called Crotus. It was said that he was so deadly that even Scorpio shrank away, and on the other side of the sky, Taurus the bull fled below the horizon as soon as Crotus Sagittarius appeared. There was a belief that the centaurs were slayers of bulls. When Chiron was hit accidentally by a poisoned arrow shot by Hercules, he was chosen to become mortal and die, rather than suffer pain as an immortal. Zeus honored him by raising him into the sky, but since the character of Crotus was not suitable for Chiron, he had to be placed in the south, in the constellation Centaurus. Because of the duality of the Centaurus, half man, half horse, as well as the specific reference to the good and the bad types belonging to the sign group, Sagittarius is referred to as being a dual sign. This means that both of the desirable as well as the undesirable traits may be present in the same person, thus giving rise to the dual personalities. The basic character of those who have Sagittarius on the cusp of their first house reflects the main traits of this group. They are broad-minded, or possibly narrow-minded bigots, independent, outspoken, yet diplomatic, and attractive to the opposite sex. Since Sagittarius is said to roll the upper legs, the thighs, this group is associated with all types of sports where strong legs are essential. Because of their natural charm, they do not often meet with opposition, but if they do, they are not the easiest people to deal with, for one of their unpleasant traits is cutting other people down by belittling them. Quite often, this group shows musical abilities, which may be related to the fact that they learn languages rather easily. After all, a language is a collection of sounds, and so is music. Sagittarius is the only astrological sign to have both a human and an animal representation. The constellation of Sagittarius, however, is not just any centaur. It is the great and wise Chiron, a son of the Titan god Saturn. Chiron was a friend and confidant of both the gods and the men. The gods taught Chiron the arts of medicine, hunting, writing, music, and prophecy. In turn, Chiron himself became a renowned teacher. Among his famous pupils were Achilles, Jason, Castor, and Hercules. One day, while the great Hercules was hunting a dangerous boar, he accidentally stuck Chiron in the knee with a poisonous shaft. Chiron suffered the agony of dying, but because he was immortal, he could not die. Hercules promised to find death to release him. On his journey, Hercules came across poor Prometheus, chained throughout eternity to a rock, where an eagle tore his liver. The supreme god Jupiter had put a curse on Prometheus. His torture would last until someone of his own free will consented to suffer in his place. The dying Chiron took Prometheus' place. Thus the curse was fulfilled. Chiron was allowed to die, and Prometheus was set free by Hercules. After Chiron's death, Jupiter rewarded his noble character by placing the heroic centaur among the stars, and he became the constellation Sagittarius. Now let's talk about Sagittarius' ruling planet, also one of my favorite planets, Jupiter. Jupiter, the expander. Jupiter is the greater benefic. It is the largest planet in our solar system. Jupiter does things on a large scale. He is the promoter, expansive, optimistic, popular, successful, and generous. Jupiter afflicted is overconfident, exaggerates, is extravagant, conceited, fond of display, and goes to excess in many things. Jupiter is also the preserver. We preserve food in tin cans. Tin is Jupiter's metal. He is active and conservative in religious and philosophical activities, favoring the more orthodox and established religions. Ritual and ceremony are correlated with the Jupiterian energy. Jupiter is the planet of the higher mind. He lifts man's eyes up, takes man out of himself, and stimulates aspiration, idealism, tolerance, understanding, and vision. A few key words for Jupiter are aspiration, generosity, religion, orthodoxy, confidence, optimism, dignity, idealism, philanthropy, understanding, faithfulness, radiance, charitableness, kindness, poise, extravagance, indulgence, bigotry, gullibility, and formality. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching.